After acquiring Teoscar Hernandez just yesterday, the Mariners are heavily in the trade market for a second baseman, somebody that could play second base that wouldn't force JP off of shortstop. And today, John Paul Morosi had a new tweet out about who the Mariners could be looking at. Morosi says, sources, the Mariners have inquired with Brewers on availability of second baseman Kolten Wong, who has 1 year left before free agency. Wong, a left-handed hitter, is coming off a career-high 118 OPS+. And for recently blocked boy Aaron Streitenberger, let's go ahead and roster bait a little bit and see how Kolten Wong fits with the Seattle Mariners. Kolten Wong has had a decent career over the 10 years he's been in the major leagues. He started in St. Louis in 2013. You may remember him from some of the best Cardinals teams you can remember. In 2022, Kolten Wong played in 134 games. He hit 15 home runs, which was a career high for him. He also hit 251, 339, 430 with, like he said, an OPS plus of 118. If I'm being honest with you, Kolten Wong is not the sexy pick, only having an OPS plus above 100 4 times in his 10-year career, and even then barely above 100. He is somebody, however, that dominates the zone with 88 strikeouts to 46 walks, and that's pretty steady throughout his career. He's always had a great on-base percentage with a 334 career and an average of 261 throughout his career. And up until last year, he was one of the best defenders at second base, and while last year was probably just an anomaly, I think that pairing him with Perry Hill with the Mariners would be really good for Kolten Wong. Now, there's definitely some things that I don't love about Kolten Wong. For example, in 2022 versus left-handed pitching, he hit 138 in 96 plate appearances, and 277 versus righties in 401 plate appearances. Is he somebody that would be a really good platoon candidate? Well, throughout his career, he's actually been pretty decent versus lefties, hitting 254 versus 263 against righties. So last year was kind of an anomaly for Kolten Wong against lefties. In his age 32 season, Kolten Wong will be making $10 million for his base salary this year. So the Mariners would probably like to shed some payroll to acquire Kolten Wong. Also, looking at his baseball savant page, I mean, there's a lot of blue in here. He doesn't have great arm strength, not great outs above average, although that was, again, an anomaly. His chase rate is great. He doesn't chase much, he doesn't strike out much, and he doesn't whiff much. But overall, Kolten Wong has not been that great of a player. He would be a fine player to add to the Mariners at the bottom of the lineup, but I am not in love with the pick. The good news about Kolten Wong is he would probably come to the Mariners relatively cheap because he wasn't that great of a player. He's in the last year of his deal, and if the Mariners do want to kind of keep salary around the same while acquiring somebody to play second base for them, I think the trade with the Brewers would probably include Chris Flexen. We know Chris Flexen is on the trade block, and not only is he on the trade block, but he's probably the Mariners' best trade chip available. While trading him for Kolten Wong is not something that we would love to see, of course I would rather see someone like Gleyber Torres coming along, or even Brendan Rodgers. I think this deal makes a lot of sense, trading Chris Flexen to the Brewers. They get some stability at the back end of their rotation, which is really good, by the way. They have an amazing rotation, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries over the past few years. I would also send the Mariners some money to offset what the extra $2 million would be for Kolten Wong's contract. So the Mariners will be getting Wong and an extra $2 million, and the Brewers will be getting Chris Flexen. Here's how this value works on that valued trade baseball simulator thingy that I really don't care for. I don't think this is a very good way to value trades, but I mean, they say it's a pretty fair deal. This way, the Mariners offset any salary they'd be giving Wong. They're basically getting Wong for free and losing out on Chris Flexen, because Chris Flexen's making $8 million, and if the Mariners also get $2 million in this deal, they're freeing up about $10 million, which is what Wong will be making in 2022. This would keep the Mariners right around the exact same amount of payroll they have right now, which I believe is around $136 million, and maybe they could use that money to go out and spend elsewhere, maybe on another outfield bat, bringing back Mitch Haniger, maybe Brandon Nimmo, so on and so forth. I personally am not in love with this trade. I don't love it. I think giving up Chris Flexen for Kolten Wong is fine, but I don't think Kolten Wong should be the Mariners' starting second baseman next year. Obviously, I'd rather see one of the big-name shortstops playing second base for the Mariners next year, but there's a good chance that doesn't happen, and I talked about that in this video here. I appreciate you guys checking out this one, and go Mariners!